All right, guys, so tonight's going to be a little bit of a short video. I get a lot of questions about what to sell, what times of the year, and when to start selling this, when to start selling that. And there's one thing that, as I get asked these questions, I go back and I look at what I've sold over the past few years and at what times I've sold those items. And there's one thing that keeps popping out that always kind of helps carry me through the summer months and give me some jobs to keep me busy and keep the lasers running. So if you've got a machine, whether it's a CNC, a CO2 laser, a diode laser, a galvo laser, I'm gonna have a project for you also that you can take out into your community and hopefully make some sales and stimulate a little bit of sales during the off season. We all know Christmas is huge. All right, spring is pretty good because you have babies being born a lot of times and you have people getting married and that type of thing. But during the lull of summer, what do you do then? So I hope to give you some ideas in this video to help get you through those stretches of summer months before everything comes back alive in October. So we'll be right back. All right, guys, as always, each market is going to be different. Each part of the world is going to be different. Where you are, sports may not be the same as they are where I am. If that's the case and you have some other sport that is played wherever you are in the world, then substitute your sport for what I'm about to tell you. But where I'm from, guys, baseball, softball, anything that resembles baseball is big during the summer months. Okay, these are 8U, 9U, 10U. I mean, they have every age group of kid in our county has basically their own little team or league. And there's several of those teams and lots of leagues. So this brings up a lot of opportunity for you to make things or come up with project ideas, customization, and parents will pay money for these things. Teams will pay money for these things. They like to give trophies out at the end of the year. So that's some of the things that we're going to go through. But to start off with, I'm going to go with customizing items for the team, for the players. That's going to be the big thing as far as part one of this. There are lots of gloves out there, but it never fails when kids go out to the ball field or whatever. I can remember when I was a kid, we had to take a Sharpie and we would write our name in our glove, or like your dad would tie an extra knot in one of these. Or so there was always some way to put a mark on there so that, you know, during the game, because especially with small kids, you're gonna get these mixed up. But if you have a laser, you're in luck. You can engrave these with, you could do it with diode lasers if you have like the F1 or if you have something similar. I used the F1 on these. I've used the Com Marker Omni on these as well. It just depends on which machine you have to use. Now you're going to need to do some testing, which means you're going to have to go buy a glove like I did, knowing that you're just going to engrave like every inch of the thing until you destroy it. Now, I do have a video on engraving gloves and how I went about it. So if that's something you're into, or if anything that we talk about in the video, if you're interested in that as a project, then go Google that or search that in my videos. And I've probably got a video where I did it at. Once you find the settings for these, you can literally take like your F1 to the ball field and do these things on site and make a little money that way if you wanted. Like I said, it's very cool little idea. All right, and another thing that a lot of times, especially if it's, let's say there's a big game and there's a winning ball, like they use a ball and they win the game with it or whatever. If you're trying to make little keepsakes and stuff like that, you can actually engrave these balls. I've done this with blue diodes, I've done it with CO2s, I've done it with IRs, but I will tell you, hands down for these things, the Omni 1 5-watt UV is the way to go. That is what did that one there, and it does a really, really good job on these balls. So that's another thing. If you memorabilia balls, like if this ball was the first home run that the kid hit, like ever, then mom and dad may want to take that ball, do something with it like this, put it in a little box. You could even make an acrylic box with the lasers to put this in and display it, and there you go. You've got a keepsake, custom to whoever. This is a little ball holder that I use to engrave balls with, but you could also make one of these, attach some acrylic, and have a pretty cool little display as well. So that's another idea. And when you get ready to do these, guys, like I said, you got to get out of, oh, I don't want to have to, I want somebody to give me the settings. That is probably one of the worst things that you can do. Because if you're asking for somebody to give you the settings and you're not going to test, then there's a good chance you're probably going to mess up more than if you just did the testing to start with. You can see this. This is some of my testing that I did on this ball, and I think that was done, these were done with a blue diode galvo. So it's a different effect. So you're going to want to play with it. You're going to want to test it. I bought a whole bucket of 8, I think, to test. And of course, the really tested up ones usually go in the garbage once I find the settings. But yeah, so you know they're not that expensive. Especially if you're trying to sell a ball, you're going to need to come up with some good settings. Make one to demonstrate, to show to whoever you're trying to sell it to. And so just go ahead and bite the bullet. Hopefully you're making money on other jobs, or you have money put back for blanks. You can buy those and go for that and see if it works. It may or may not work in your area, but you'll never know until you find out, until you ask. Another laser project idea that a lot of people around here have asked me about, and I've done some of them for some of the teams in the area, and I've done a few just little one-offs here and there for different folks. These technically are almost a back-to-school thing as well, and that would be like little acrylic backpack tags. These are a local school logo. This is actually the school that I went to as a kid, Verbena High School. That is their logo. This is a 2-layered acrylic project. It's a piece of red and a piece of black acrylic. I do use cast acrylic for these and a CO2 laser, of course. And if you're interested in where I get the acrylic that I'm using, I'll put a link down below. I'm getting it from Johnson Plastics Plus. So far, I've had really good luck with their acrylic for about the past year. And I just recently got hooked up to them and got me an affiliate account. So there is a link down below if you're interested in this. And then, of course, the key rings, Amazon, you can get those things by the hundreds. Another thing, and this was a good one for me this past year, is these clear acrylic ball bag tags. And I never really thought about this as being a potential item to sell. It almost looks like a little Christmas ornament, but it's got this cool little hasp right here that it's like a chain link almost. It unscrews, and you've got this threaded part that goes in this little barrel right here, and you just thread it together. I bought these little cables on Amazon. They're not really expensive, but I did a whole team with this design, and these things were pretty popular. What this does is when kids are going to and from the ball games and they got their bags sitting outside, this gives you a decorative way, a cool way of being able to determine whose bag is what. It's got the name as well as the number on there. This particular order that I did, they were wanting them made out of clear acrylic, but you can do other colors. You can do school colors or whatnot. You could even, if you really wanted to fancy them up, you could even do like I did with this one and do an engraving on the red layer and then cut out the letters and glue them to it as well with some weld on. But yeah, you could make them as fancy as you want. Of course, the fancier that they are, the more you're going to want to charge to make it worth your while. But for you guys that maybe you don't have a CO2 laser, or maybe you don't have a galvo laser, which I will say too, guys, to you guys that have diodes, the red and the black acrylic actually works really well with blue diodes. Most of you probably knew that the black would work with the blue diodes, but red is one of those colors that it's just an anomaly. It works really well with blue diodes from my experience. All right, but never fear. If you don't necessarily have the CO2 or the galvo lasers, maybe you don't have a laser at all. Maybe you have a CNC, because I do have a lot of guys that watch the channel for CNCs. I do have a lot of CNC engravable, cuttable things that I do as well. And I'm going to be dropping some pictures up here as we talk. This is just one of the ones that I do. This one you can either CNC designs up on top of here, or you can laser engrave it, whichever way you decide to go. But this little pedestal here, this is basically just a wooden dowel. I make this file, cut it out with the CNC, and then glue the dowel in there. You don't even have to glue it if you don't want, like if they're gonna flat pack it, but I would. And then what they do is every year when they get their championship ring, they can just stack them on here. Depending on how many years your kid plays, you may need more or you may need a longer pedestal. This is literally just a piece of the dowel that I got out to show you guys what it looks like, so that it wasn't just a board. But you can engrave names and logos or whatever on here. This could be used, like I said, for boys, girls, teenagers, you know, 6As, 5A, it doesn't matter. This is just basically a way to keep up with those little rings and kind of display them in their room. Another thing is also, I've done a lot of things like this with plywood, these home plates. People like to have them painted and engraved, and I'll show you a couple of pictures of some of the ideas, but you can paint them and engrave them. You can put red acrylic in an inlay on there and make it look like a baseball. There's lots of things that you can do. These, a lot of times the team will purchase them for the coaches as just kind of a thank you for the season, and it'll have the coach's name on there, you know, the team name, and then maybe all the kids will get a pen and sign it with a Sharpie or something like that and give it to the coach at the end of the year. So there's lots of different ideas in the sports realm, and the biggest sport here during the summer months is going to be baseball, softball, those types of things. It could be different in your area, and if you're in a region or an area or a country where there are other sports or other things that you've come across that you have personal experience with that can be beneficial to others to be able to sell products during the slower times of the year, feel free to drop that down in a link below. We're all working together here trying to figure out the best way to make money with our shops and the lasers and CNCs. And sometimes those little ideas can go a long way for somebody whose business is, maybe it's not where yours is, or maybe it's struggling a little bit. Sometimes just that idea, just planting that seed, can make a huge difference in somebody's trajectory as far as their business goes. So if you found the video helpful, guys, please leave a comment, let me know, give me a thumbs up. And if you like this kind of thing and you just kind of like me throwing ideas at you rather than necessarily showing you how to do the projects, well, let me know. Drop that in the comments down below as well. And hopefully this video is going to be a little shorter than what you're used to from me. So if you're looking for any of the stuff that I use for these guys, I'll try to drop links to all the technical stuff like the acrylics and stuff like that. But like I said, if you want to know exactly how I go about making some of this stuff, use that search bar in my videos and just search for whatever the project is. And there's probably going to be a dedicated video to that type of project. So there you have it, guys. Simple ideas to keep you busy and keep you making money during summer. So I hope it helps. And drop comments down below. Until next time, be safe and have a good day.